Okay, we're going to look at Bitcoin. We're going to look at a couple altcoins. And so here we go. Um, Real quick, I have been uh, looking at prediction. I am at about, 130 plus paper trades, plus about 30 YOLOs. Uh, So I'm getting there. I'm real close. I think I just need to set up OBS for how I want to present the information. And that's it. But with that, I want to look at Bitcoin. And I want to look at Bitcoin because I have not been looking at anything but BNB on the 1 to 5 minute for days, absolute days. Everything that was entering my bubble sounded good to me, so I didn't pay any attention. Um, I'm looking at Bitcoin on the week for the first time in a couple days, and damn, that looks good. I mean, that looks really good. So we got on the week, and we're halfway through. On the week, halfway through, we've got 3 green candles. And our third green candle, which we're halfway through the week, has almost no retracement. I mean, there's a tiny bit. Let me get rid of this fib here. There's a tiny bit, just a wee, if you zoom in, really, you could just see a wee bit of tracement, but it's nothing big. So that makes me hopeful. Our RSI, speaking of Stouch RSI, this is not looking too bad. This cross is looking really good, even though it's kind of high. Because I just want to point out on the weekly, we maxed out the RSI during this space. So we can be overbought, so to speak, for a long period of time. This is weeks. So technically, according to this, about 63 days. So it's like 2 months in the overbought. And we're coming there. We're coming there really close. And a lot of times, maybe it's just me, I'd have to go back a long way. But I mean, even here, we didn't come all the way from the bottom when we started this push right here. And that looks like that's about 2 months too. And that was 2019. So if we go back to everybody's favorite period, we didn't even see a max out there. So yeah, the week is looking good. We've got 3 candles, so or anytime I see 3 candles, I'm gonna bet on 5, 7, and 9, right? So 2 more candles would make us 5. That would easily put us around 62 to 65. So in 2 weeks, we could easily be there. We're gonna have to see some kind of a retracement. Don't get me wrong, but right now we're still 3 weeks out of a retracement that brought us down to zero point 0.5 on the Fibonacci. And this was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, let's say 6.5 candles of up, right? So technically, wait a minute, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So technically it's a 7, I guess, but I'm going to call it like a 6.5. Which is pretty good. So if we get 2 more candles out of this RSI, we're doing good. What would our retracement at that point look like if there is one? So let's go to the max here, and our retracement would be back down to our support right here. And that makes sense. That makes sense. What comes up must go down, sometimes harder than it went up, right? But what goes up must come down. So on the week, it's looking great. I'm actually very happy. My last buy was at, I don't even remember, maybe 46, maybe 43, let's say 46. So I'm happy. I'm very happy. I want to look at this on the day. And the RSI is not looking so bad. So when you're watching this RSI, just because it's sloping down like this doesn't mean the price is going down. And that's a confusing thing about the using RSI indicators is they're not 100%. If it's going up, it doesn't mean it's going to go up. It depends on how it's going up a lot of the times. In this case, we had some topped out action here and we were still making gains on the day. So, but if we drop down to the 4 hour, and this is what's helping us. So on the 4 hour, this right here would have been a buy right here. That would have been a buy on the 4 hour. And if we do this proper like, right? See, I would have, on the 4 hour, I would have done this right here. Would have set my stop loss. That's actually a little low for my stop loss, so I would probably double it to at least 3%. Look at my risk reward ratio here and pull that up to 0.5. And yeah, and that could seriously be working out. And then as it goes up, if I have the time, if I'm paying attention, I'm going to use a trailing stop loss. So my stop loss for this on the 4 hour, oops, 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 oops. I want you. Oh, now I can't do it, but let's draw another line. Would be right here at 56. That would be my aggressive trailing stop loss, and that would mean that if I stopped out in the future, I would get 3%, 2.5%. So I would 2.5%. So I would make my fee at least if I was trading on an expensive exchange. I would make my fee. Um, so yeah, but I mean, obviously you would want to try and let it run. So we would hope that our sell would be, maybe 6%. Right? We would hope that we're breaking an all-time high here. Well, not an all-time high, a 4 hour kind of past week high, right? That's what we want to do. And according to this, it's going to happen. So, well, like I said, this thing could flip down in a heartbeat. And if we drop down into like a 2 hour, we can see that we're already pegged up here on the 2 hour. And if we drop down to the 1 hour, we're still pegged, which is actually not bad. Right? So this means that people have been buying for, let's break out our measuring tool. People have been buying for the last 8 hours at a heavy, steady rate. Steady enough to pull us up here and steady enough to keep us here on the 1 hour. So could this break? Well, if we go to the 30-minute, it's already broken. Now the problem is when you're trading with RSI like this is a fractal within a fractal within a fractal. So if you go back to the 4 hours, you're like you're looking 2 layers into a fractal, if that makes any sense whatsoever, which it maybe does, maybe doesn't. But that's the problem with RSI. RSI works very well when you're going from like the 1 week to the day, and then you're looking for your entry at the 4 hour. And that's what I do for BTC. But BTC is looking great. It's looking good on the 4 hour. We've got a nice upward trend that's developed here. So I really can't complain. When I see this drop down to the yellow is when I would maybe consider a trade. So let's go back to the week and we'll look at Ethereum. And there is a reason why I want to look at Ethereum, right? So Ethereum, and I love triangles. Love, love, love triangles. especially when they just jump out at you, right? It's very hard to ignore a triangle. And you can trade on triangles, right? There's ways to trade on triangles. So this is still well within the triangle, meaning 1, 2, 3 weeks, 4 weeks. We could have 4 weeks and we could totally go to the upside. And if we go to the upside, then we're seriously going to the upside, I think. Um, Only because this is a huge triangle on the weekly chart. We've got the EMA to support us here. And on the week, we are looking up. So there is no reason why we could not see a few upsides. So when this happens, usually it shoots up a little bit and then it retraces. So my rule of thumb is I take I take this side of the triangle and I figure out what its percent is. So we're going to say about 80%. So we're going to take that 80%, we're just going to divide it in half. We're going to go all the way up to 40%. And that's when it exits this triangle, that's possibly how high it could go. Like within the first 2 weeks, right? Within the first two bars. And this is a weekly, so unfortunately, one problem holds is that it could break to the underside and do that, or let's go ahead and, or it could even just break straight down, right? So you can't be too sure what exactly is going to happen. But I get very optimistic when I see triangles, especially I believe this would be called an ascending triangle, specifically because when you enter the triangle, you're in an upswing and then you bounce inside the triangle. And you can consider this like a weekly level of consolidation before another push in one or two directions. I always give this a 65% that it's going to go up. So Ethereum's looking really good. And if I take that measure and I go up 40%, that's 55. So 55 in 4 or 5 weeks sounds easy to me. Um, So just real quick, Ethereum on the day, and then I only have Ethereum to hold to pay for Ethereum fees for stuff that I have vested on side chains, layer two chains. So I could readjust the triangle a little bit. The EMA is kind of stretching out here. That's not looking so good on the day, but the triangle, there's plenty of down room on the triangle. And these two, we've got a 50, the blue is the 50 EMA now. The green, no, I'm sorry. The blue is my 20 EMA. Then I have a 50. Then I have a 100. Then I have the red as the 200. So right now, the 50 and the green being next to each other, I'm hoping that will provide some support. So it won't really drop beneath that without the EMAs touching and then going down. But I'm optimistic on Ethereum. I don't know. I mean, Ethereum is everybody's going to use Ethereum. It's kind of like Ethereum and Bitcoin are the two. You can't use the word stable coin anymore, but they are the two leader coins. So that's why I always try and look at both of them. So BNB, BNB, my boy, my favorite, my biggest producer in 4 years. Because I didn't have Ethereum, because I'm dumb. But on the day, we're looking good. Let's drop to the week. That's my dog barking. She sees anything outside. And we are in an uptrend. I don't have enough data coming off of Binance US, but just going off the 50 here, we're good. We're good. We could have found support. We could be moving up. Look at that week though. Look where we're starting on the week here with the RSI. So that could be a lot of weeks up. That could be a lot of weeks up. I don't even know what was our high here. When was the last time we did this? Well, that wasn't even on a, this was on like a, this whole part was on a sideways RSI. So look at that. That's another thing. Whenever you're using the RSI, you got to be careful about is this sideways RSI was not did not indicate sideways price movement. As a matter of fact, it didn't indicate anything until right before it broke to the downside on the weekly. I wonder what the MACD looks like. I wonder if I can fit in a MACD. Let me get rid of this and throw in the MACD. So the MACD would have done a fairly bad job of predicting this drop, in my opinion. The RSI was actually a much better. This right here would have told me, hey, I need to be prepared to go either way. This would have told me, oh, I could be okay. Oh, I could be okay. And then boom, I wake up in the morning and well, this is the weekly, but if this, yeah, you get the idea. I'm going to get rid of the MACD for now because I don't think I need it for where we're looking at. So I know for a fact that BNB, there has been some serious fuckery in the last couple days with the price action on BNB. Our 4-hour RSI is not looking too bad. 2-hour, we're good. We're well above, so we could retrace down, no problem. So that is something to keep in mind. We've got a little bit sideways here. Right? And then we got our upswing. So we may not have much more upswing until we want to come back down to the TMA. So that's the 2-hour. I don't know. I mean, it could go really high. We'll have to see. It's not a bad time to put in if you're, it's not a bad time. I don't know if I'd say it's a good time. So there's BNB. So let's look at cake and we'll drop back to the weekly. And my triangle is gone, but this is the greatest triangle ever as far as I'm concerned. It's the one I'm excited about. Look at that. So I'm bullish. We entered in, we've got one, I'm going to count this as 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, maybe 7 different points. We're already on the weekly, we are already at like this little indecision doji candle, right? Which for the weekly, that's a big fat honker boy there. He could go either way with 4 days left. But this could be our week to exit this triangle. It could be a surprise weekend. It could be Monday, right? And the candle, this we go down a little bit because I think BNB was looking a little weak on the 4-hour, 2-hour, um, or it could be coming up in a couple days. But yeah, but I'm liking it. And so we go to Sushi Swap, and I don't have enough data for Sushi Swap. If we go to 1 inch and we draw my triangle here, this is actually a descending triangle. So to me, this makes me bearish on 1 inch. And 1 inch is not bad, right? So I don't know what to say. So when you read posts from people that are like, oh, everything else is outperforming, everything else is looking better on the charts, are they looking on the 4-hour? Are they even going up to the daily and the weekly is my first question. I generally try not to answer those posts. I'm always afraid that they're trolls, people that have somehow become emotionally attached to coins. But in this case, right, in this triangle, there's still a lot of chance for downside. At least on the cake triangle, I have to make a decision next week. I know within the next couple days I need to make a decision on cake. And considering where the RSI is, I'm thinking I don't need to make a decision. I'm thinking I just need to hold what I've got. So that's the weekly. That's why I'm not worried. Um, Drop down to the day. RSI is healthy on the day. We're at 20. We kind of poked this 22 up here. I kind of have a feeling like this is a premonition of where we're going to be in a couple days. To be honest with you, we got 23 hours and 30 minutes on this candle that has just started to turn a little green, looking a little indecisive, right? And but we got a big wick here that we could be following. We got RSI that could push us up into there. So it looks good. I'm not saying we're going to hit anywhere near 23 in the next couple days, but I could see we're definitely going to get there. I think we're going to get there. I think we're going to see an all-time high on cake. And when that happens, well, okay, let's see. Let's make crazy predictions that aren't going to happen, right? We're going to go back over here. We're going to get our triangle, which I love this triangle. This is my favorite chart at this moment right now. Um, so we go up. What are we working with here? Working with 80%, right around the same amount as Bitcoin. So if we go from here up 40%, we're at 29. And that would be where our first fib would happen, right? So let's pretend that we've got a green candle that's trading just above our current green candle. We're going to go up to that 29, which means that our retrace would come back down to 25. 24, $25 would be our retrace on that. And then it could go higher. It could just follow this trend line. We want to see $40 cake. We may not see cake break above the all-time high. It's possible. I don't think that's going to happen. I really think that when Bitcoin breaks its all-time high, I think all the altcoins are going to follow shortly after. Um, so I like that. Oh, I shouldn't have done that. Let me get rid of the triangle. My favorite triangle. And if we Elliott wave, I'm just fascinated by this chart right now. And we do an Elliott impulse wave along this line, 29, let's say, let's be ballsy, let's say 31. Huh. We got this 36 bar. So I don't know why I put that there. Maybe that's my, I have no idea why I put that there, but it's funny that that worked out. But something like that. So what week is that? That's March. That's the other thing, man. A lot of these time frames don't line up with December for me. They line up in February, March, which maybe that's the altcoin cycle continuing a little further than Bitcoin. I have no idea. Um, but let's drop down to the day. So we know what Cake is doing. Just going to look at a couple here. Sushi, Kind of the same triangle as 1 inch from what I can tell from the limited data that I have. 1 inch. I'm going to go ahead and get rid of this triangle. I believe this is going to go up, but I have a feeling that we may have more days of down than we do on cake. Like we may not see anything if we reach this low again. So it's what, September now? No, October now? What month is this? Holy cow, I'm so bad. It's October now. So yeah, like this could trail cake. So in a couple days, go troll the other centralized, decentralized DeFis about how they're not moving like cake and see how they like it. No, I'm joking. Don't go to other people's don't go to people's houses and piss on their gate. There's no point. Uni is another one looking good on the day for going up. So I'm seeing a lot of buys. The problem is that last week I kind of did all my buys, right? And they flirted with where I should sell, but I didn't sell. Um, so yeah, and so that's it. That's all I wanted to talk about. That's all I wanted to go over. Uh, like I said, man, this looks good to me. This looks good to me. I can't complain at all. I'll get rid of my marks. All right, so have a good evening, and hopefully the next video will be something uh, uh, comprehensible about pancake swap prediction. Um, have a good day tomorrow. Have a good day at work.